Hey everybody, it's Nicole here. Alright, I've taken a lunch break. I've kind of re-skim watched episode 12, so hopefully I can do this a little better than the last one I did. So, starting with a recap, as always, of course, we have Hunter has just passed away, so we start the episode with Kara is already in surgery to receive his heart. She ends up in that middle space that we know. It's kind of like a purgatory kind of thing, and Hunter's there. Of course, he is still dead. He's not coming back with her, but he's waiting around for her to spend some moment with her, and they talk, and she's obviously upset, and she can't take the heart, and she feels uncomfortable, and he wants her to, so they just kind of are hanging out in that spot, just kind of figuring it out. Meanwhile, there is Jordy and his grandma, and they're praying, and, I think he's thinking a lot about what's happening, and, Hunter just died because of the transplant. Leo, who had the surgeries and was supposed to get better, is suddenly, his cancer is back, we find out. And so it's making him probably scared, and, Dr. McAndrews has been pushing for the surgery, and suddenly Jordy's stepping back and really looking and going, I don't know if I want to do that. And Dr. McAndrews is kind of in shock and is like, no, but Jordy, we have to. And he's like, you know what, I think I should go home. And he wants to go home with his grandmother, and, he wants to figure that out. Meanwhile, Nurse Jackson goes and is talking to Dr. Naday, and he's showing her how Charlie's progressing. The kid can use video games now as a way to, move his hands and fingers around. He's still kind of got a blank expression on his face. He can't really talk. He can't talk at all, I believe, but he's moving. And, he's living and breathing, so that's always good. Dash and Emma are talking, and, it's hard and it's uncomfortable, and they're hanging out, and then all of a sudden, this girl comes in, and she's this kind of, cute, punky kind of, she almost reminds me of, a stereotypical Japanese anime girl, kind of, not the cartoon character, but, the girl, anyway, she's kind of, she's adorable, and, Dash sees her, and he's like, oh, crap, and he's hiding under the bed, and Emma's like, what's wrong? He's like, I know that girl, and, apparently Dash is on an online cystic fibrosis kind of, center thing, where other cystic fibrosis kids can talk, and just kind of vent, do whatever, just talk about life, and he's like, I can't be seen, and, Emma's like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, I'll go talk to her for you or something, and Dash is like, no, and so that happens. Meanwhile, Hunter takes Kara to her surgery room, and they can literally watch her getting operated on, and, she's watching this, and he's trying to explain it to her, and she's like, I don't really want to do, no, because, who really wants to have an out-of-body experience where they can see themselves being cracked open? I would say nobody really wants that. So then that happens. Nurse Brittany talks to Nurse Jackson. She's like, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. Nurse Jackson's like, what's going on? Hunter's mother has also showed up to the hospital, and she can't seem to find a shirt. She's like, I gave it to Hunter. He didn't want to wear it. He thought it was too little, and, Nurse Jackson understands this is a grieving parent, and, they want to keep a hold of every living thing or non-living thing that is linked to their child, and even though the shirt was something that Hunter may not have even worn, she gave it to him for the hospital, and so Nurse Jackson's like, we're going to find it, it's fine. And she asks Nurse Jackson to come to the funeral because it's also going to be that day as well, and she's like, yeah, of course. This also leads into Dr. Naday being like, hey, I was thinking we could do dinner, blah, 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 and she's kind of like, I don't know, and he's like, okay, and he's kind of not sure what to do, because Nurse Jackson's kind of not giving him all the answers. Meanwhile, Hunter has asked Kara where would she like to go, if she could go anywhere in the world, and so we come back and they're in Paris, and they're eating at this cafe, and they're drinking hot cocoa, and she's telling Hunter about the story of her childhood and how she loved this trip, and it was right before her parents got divorced, and the trip was like a to cover it up kind of thing and give her mom time to leave. and it was like, I think it was the last bit of true happiness she felt she had, and it was probably the last time she was like relaxed and a sweet, happy girl, whatever, until parents got divorced and everything just kind of tumbled out of it, and she became who she is today. So they're walking around Paris, and they're, having the date that, they probably always wanted to have, and it's very cute. And so meanwhile, Emma goes to the girl that Dash has been talking to's room, and sorry about that. She went to Leo's. Emma went to Leo's room, but she's standing outside because Leo, since he's been told his cancer is back, he hasn't been speaking, he hasn't been eating, he hasn't been doing anything, just kind of staring at the wall because the poor kid was in remission for the longest time, and just as he's about to go home, they found the cancer again. So she's debating whether or not, I think, to go in when the girl that Dash has been talking to, who we find out her name is May, takes a picture of her. And Emma's kind of like, what are you doing? And she's freaking out, and May's explaining, photography and everything. Because cystic fibrosis, she has trouble breathing, and it becomes this whole great analogy of a camera being her breath or her living. So Emma's like, okay, and she gets over it, and May takes her to her room, and they're talking. So Emma uses this as a great opportunity to be like, oh, she wants to say something, and then May kind of brings up that she has a boyfriend, and Emma's like, ew, you have a boyfriend, okay. So she finds out that little tidbit of information that she can bring back to Dash. Unfortunately, she doesn't want to break his heart, of course. So then next we have, there's more just of Dr. Naday and Nurse Jackson talking, and all throughout the episode it's kind of a constant struggle between, let's go on a date, oh, is this a normal day for you, show me some kind of emotion, and Nurse Jackson kind of deals with, I think, by just putting that wall up around her. Jordy and his grandmother talk, and he mentions, like, let's go back to Mexico, like, never mind, let's go see the doctor you were going to have me see, because it's just, he's freaking out, I think, about the chance that he could have the surgery and nothing will happen. It's more Hunter and Kara in Paris, just kind of living life, and then Aaron and Dr. McAndrews, they start talking, and they kind of get in a fight, and Aaron kind of thinks that he's just trying to win. He's just trying to win all the time instead of stepping back and thinking about the kids. Sorry, here. I need actual water in that for that to really work. So there's that. Emma goes to talk to Dash, and Dash is kind of sitting there, and Emma's like, oh, well, don't worry, she has a boyfriend. And Dash is like, are you serious? Why would you say that to her? And then Dash says basically that I might be the boyfriend that she's talking about, and Emma's like, you might be, and they have this whole big fight. And again, it brings up when Delaney Shaw was there, maybe 3 episodes ago or something, and they made out a little bit, and he's like, I didn't sleep with Delaney, I didn't do this, and it's hard. And then he explains to Emma that, he couldn't be in a relationship with May, but technically they can never really get physical because 2 cystic fibrosis patients getting intimate with each other, basically swap and spit, whatever, they could kill each other because of their condition. It's like a forbidden romance. It's like a love story. It's like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, but a lot more dangerous. So that kind of is shocking, and Emma obviously didn't realize that. I did say that Dr. Aaron and McAndrews decided to get back together. Blah, blah, blah. Dr. McAndrews goes to talk to Jordy's grandmother, and he's like, we need to get Jordy into the surgery, and the grandma's kind of like, well, you kind of didn't let me in on it, and he's like, I called you once, and she's like, oh, good, once, and didn't go well. Basically does not go well, and he's not getting anywhere. And then Dash, of course, and May are kind of talking, and she finds out that he kind of hooked up with Delaney, mostly because she overhears Emma and him. She's obviously pissed, and Dash is like, no, but you gotta listen to me, like, it wasn't meaning, I didn't do that, and blah, blah, blah. Basically tries to explain himself, and wants May to hear him out. Meanwhile, Kara and Hunter are just laying back, and they're back in the little purgatory kind of space, doing their thing. And earlier in the thing, Hunter had been talking about how there was a light that he has to go to, and it was in the ceiling. And Kara couldn't see it, and Hunter was obviously happy about that. But now they're laying back, and Kara goes, "Oh, hey, it's the light you were talking about." And Hunter's like, "What?" And Kara's like, "That means I can go with you." And of course Hunter's horrified, and he's like, "What? No, Kara, you can't do this." And of course, you know, Kara gets up, being Kara, and just starts running up these winding stairs that are in there. And she's like, "I can go to the light, we can be together, we can do this." And then Hunter's trying to stop her, and we're all like, "No, don't run to the light, Kara." Which is absolutely terrifying, of course. And let's see what else happens. So Geordi and his grandmother are talking again, and she's kind of thought about what the doctor said. And they have this talk about how people do things for the other person to make them feel better. And it's this big whole thing, and she basically is telling Geordi, "I think we should do the surgery, I think we should stay here and give this a chance." And she's finally, like, crossing over from the whole, like, I don't believe in the doctors and everything, which is great. And she's kind of, you know, making it okay for Geordi to do this. Nurse Jackson and Dr. Naday are trying to have lunch in the caf, and he's talking, and she's not listening, and finally they kind of get into a fight, and she's like, "I just got asked to go to a funeral, blah, blah, blah." And she kind of is trying to walk away, and he's trying to follow her, and he's like, "Talk to me, like, let me be with you," kind of thing. Let me in, and it's the first real emotion he's seen from her all day. Kara and Hunter finally stopped Kara, and he's like, "You can't do this, you need to live, like, take my gift and live," and he gives her this whole speech about living, and they kind of say their, like, last goodbyes, which is sad, but, you know, it's gonna be okay. And so Geordi talks to Dr. McAndrews, and he wants to go through with the surgery, which is great. Nurse Jackson calls Dr. Naday and decides to ask for him to come with her to the funeral for Hunter. Dash sits next to May, and he goes to see her, and they're talking, and he's finally like, "I'm so sorry." And they make up, and even though they're a danger to themselves, they just start kissing, because why not? And then what happens is Kara wakes up, and her mom is like, "Oh, hey, honey." And Kara's kind of like a little out of it, but, you know, she woke up. It seems that the heart is taking. And, you know, she said goodbye to Hunter. We're not going to see him anymore. But I think it's for the best. And then Geordi kind of goes back to his room, and he's like, "I'm staying, I'm getting surgery." And Leo's not listening, and he's like, "So let's just fight, okay?" And he kind of makes this big deal, and he's like, "So let's just freaking fight this and whatever." And finally Leo kind of looks over, and he's like, "Okay." And it's the first thing we've heard out of him for, like, the whole episode since last episode. And everyone's in shock, and you know, we're like, "Oh, it's a turning point. Yeah!" So I believe I correctly got everything for that episode. I'm going to try and get episode 13 up, the final one, today, but I might have to wait. I'm a little... But thanks for watching as always. We have one last episode before we really, honest to goodness, finish Red Band Society. Thank you for always watching, guys. You are awesome. Okay, have a good day. Bye.